Hello and good evening, algebra students. We are moving on from slope-intercept form, and we're going into section 5-4, and it's called point-slope form. So today, I would like for you to be able to graph and write linear equations in point-slope form. So first of all, what is point-slope form? How do we do it? So it is, you can use the slope of any line and any point on the line to write and graph an equation of a line. So the point-slope formula for a non-vertical line is going to be this guy right here. That is important. It is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x sub 1. M is still the slope, and x sub 1, y sub 1 is just some point on the line. That's all it is, just some point on the line. So we are going to pull this information from the equations and be able to graph them. So let's look at our first example. It says graphing using point-slope form. We need to graph this equation. So first of all, we know the slope. So m is equal to 2/3. But I don't start at the y-intercept anymore. I would start at the y-intercept if this were in slope-intercept form. This is in point-slope form. So I look at this number and I look at this number. Now what I want you to notice is this. Because the minus matches this minus, then my y sub 1 matches this y sub 1. It's just 1. Because this minus matches this minus, the x sub 1 is just 2. So my coordinate is 2, 1. Now I'm going to plot 2, 1, so that's over 2, up 1. And at that point, I'm going to use my slope from there. So slope is rise over run. So I'm going to go up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. And then I'll do some in the opposite direction, down 2, backwards 3, down 2, backwards 3. Okay, so after I have a couple points, I'm now going to connect them. I missed a little bit, but whatever. Okay, let's do that again. So I want to graph this equation right here. I know my slope, so m is going to equal -4 over 5. What is my coordinate though? So here I have -4. That's going to be my x sub 1. Excuse me. And what might be helpful is if we rewrite the last part, because notice how this says plus, but in my formula I have a minus. So how could I change a plus sign to a minus sign? Well, I can say, oh, this is actually y minus -7, because two negatives form a positive. So if I rewrite it, then now I can see, oh, my -7 is actually what my y sub 1 is. So now my coordinates are 4, -7. I'm going to start with this coordinate, then I'm going to use the slope from there. So over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay. Then I have a slope of -4 over 5. So that's down 4 to the right 5 or up 4 to the left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I have my points, and now I can connect them. And there we have it. So this minus sign, make sure that you're being mindful. It needs to be minus, and then your y sub 1, minus your x sub 1. Okay. Here it says a line passes through the point -3, 6 and has a slope of -5. What is the equation of the line? So let's write our formula out. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x sub 1. Well, we know the slope right here is m, and then I can label this guy x sub 1 and this guy y sub 1. Now I can just take my individual values and plug them in for each specific spot. So this is going to be y minus 6 is equal to negative 5 parentheses x minus negative 3. But we know minus a negative turns into plus a positive. So if I wanted to rewrite this, I could say y minus 6 is equal to negative 5 parentheses x plus 3. And there we have it. Let's do that again. Okay, so now we have my point being x1, y1, 8, negative 4, and my slope is 2/3. My formula is not changing. My formula is still y minus y sub 1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x sub 1 close parentheses. So let's plug everything in. I have y minus negative 4 is equal to 2/3 x minus, and then where's my x value? Right here, minus 8. It's best to not leave minus a negative, so let's rewrite it, and I'm going to have y plus 4 is equal to 2/3 parentheses x minus 8. So I'm just simplifying this little part right here just so it looks nicer. All right, moving on to the back of that page. How are you going to write an equation from a graph? Well, we have 3 easy steps. The first thing is you're going to identify 2 easy points and label them x1 and y1. So there's step 1. Find 2 easy points and label them. Step 2 is to use the slope formula to find the slope. Now, I will say this. If you have a graph and it's easy to see, you can also just count on the graph, okay? That's more than fine. Then you're going to substitute the values for the slope and 1 point into the formula. So remember, this is not named arbitrarily. For point slope form, which is what we're using, it requires 1 point and the slope. That's all I need to write this equation. So let's do this for this first image in example 3. It says, what is the equation of each graphed line? All right, let me kind of highlight where these coordinates are a little better for you. Here we go. First of all, I need the slope. I have 2 strategies. I can count and say rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it could be rise 7 over, maybe, let me count one more time before I make a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're correct. And then run 1, 2, 3. So 7 over 3 is equal to slope. But if you couldn't count, like maybe it was really hard to count because, I don't know, maybe they're really far away. It has a weird slope. I'm not sure. You can still use the slope formula of y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So I'll show you that on this first one just so you can see it. But anyways, we have, I'll just label it this way, x1, y1, x2, y2. So here I have 4 minus negative 3 over 1 minus negative 2. Turn them into plus a positive, and I still get 7 over 3. So even if you count, or if you do the slope formula, you're still going to get the same slope. Then I need to choose 1 point. Choose a point. It really doesn't matter which one. I'm going to choose 1, 4 because they're both positive, and that makes it easier. So I'm choosing 1, 4, and now I'm plugging it into my formula. I'll write it down again for you. So it's y minus y sub 1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x sub 1. So let's fill that in. I have y minus 4 is equal to 7/3 parentheses x minus 1. We're going to do the same thing with this example right here. So I need to find the slope first. So what is the slope? I have a couple strategies to do this, because just because I'm given these 2 points doesn't mean I might be able to find something a little easier. So I might be noticing, oh, hey, you know, it looks like it intersects exactly right here. So I might say you go up 2 and backwards 3. You can automatically say slope is equal to -2/3 just by saying, well, there's an intersection and there's a point as well. If you needed to, you could use both of these coordinates, plug them into your slope formula, and go from there. But we can read it from the graph, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Then I'm going to choose a point on the graph. Once again, you can choose any point that you want. I'm just going to happen to choose this one. So 3, it says -1. Oh, well, that's because it is -1. I'm over here misreading this. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if I go up 1, back 1.5, well, it's still the same thing, I guess. If I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, yeah, it's fine. So we can leave it like this. Okay, so anyways, I have 3, -1. Let's plug this into my formula. So I have y minus -1 is equal to -2/3, parentheses x, I'm running out of space, minus 3. Turn that into plus a positive. I'll write it below it so you can see it. So it's going to be y plus 1 is equal to -2/3, parentheses x minus 3. And there you have it. So far, we have taken an equation and turned it into a graph, taken words and put them into equations, taken a graph and turned it into an equation. Now, I want you to be able to take a table and also turn that table into an equation. So it says, the table shows the altitude of a hot air balloon during its linear descent. Linear is a clue. It's letting us know, hey, this is going to form a line. What equation in slope-intercept form gives the balloon's altitude at any time? Pay attention to what it's asking. Slope-intercept form. It doesn't want point slope. The thing is, though, we might need to put it in point slope first and then convert it to slope-intercept. So that's what I'm actually going to say. So first, put it in point slope, then convert to slope-intercept. So what are the 2 things I need for point slope? Remember from up here, I need a point and I need the slope. Well, we have plenty of points and it should be just fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and say my point is going to be 10, 640. So I know right off the bat, x sub 1 and y sub 1 is going to be 10, 640. Because this is my x and this is my y. And remember, these tables are just, it's just ordered pairs in rows. Next, I need to calculate my slope. M is going to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So what we need to do in this is to label or choose 2 points that we want. It does not matter which 2 you choose. I'm just going to choose the top 2 because they're easy. So I'm going to say x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Because remember, these are just the coordinates 10, 640, 30, 590, 70, 490, and 90, 440. So we're not doing anything crazy here. It's still x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's plug these values into our formula. So this is going to be 590 minus 640 is equal to 30 minus 10, which is going to get me -50 over 20 590 minus 640 is negative 50. 30 minus 10 is equal to 20. And then we can reduce that to negative 5 over 2. So where am I at right now? I have my x1, y1, and I have my slope. What I can do with this now is stick it into my point slope form and then convert it. So I'm going to say y minus 640 is equal to negative 5 halves parentheses x minus 10. Now, this is point slope. I want it to be of the form y equals mx plus b. So what I'm going to do first is distribute to get rid of these parentheses. I'm doing my best to make it look like y equals mx plus b. So y equals mx plus b does not have any parentheses in it, so I need to get rid of them. So I still have y minus 640 on the left is equal to negative 5 halves x. Okay, now I'm taking negative 5 halves times 10. You can think of this a lot of different ways. We've reduced fractions before, but first be mindful I have a negative times a negative, which becomes a positive. And I have 5 times 10, which is 50, divided by 2. I'm saying divided by because the fraction bar means division. So 5 times 10 is 50, divided by 2 is 25. Okay. Now I want to add 640 to both sides. And I'm going to get y is equal to negative 5 halves x plus 665. And we're done. This is now of the form y equals mx plus b. We're going to do a couple examples like that because this is a word problem where we took the table, turned it into an equation, and then we converted it. But now let's just have nothing but equations and convert from there because that's a little bit of a tougher thing to do. So let's practice just a little bit. Here, we want to convert from point slope to slope intercept. So notice we're going from point slope to slope intercept form. These are the two steps you do. You use the distributive property first, then you solve for y second. 2 steps every time. So let's go ahead and look at part A in example 4. Let's distribute the 2. So now I have y minus 2 is equal to 2x plus 2. Now I solve for y. Y needs to be alone, so I need to do the opposite of minus 2, which is plus 2. And that gets me y is equal to 2x plus 4. Let's do it again. For problem B, I have y plus 3 is equal to negative parentheses x plus 2. Remember, there's an invisible 1 right here. So I need to distribute that invisible 1 across the parentheses. So my left side stays the same. It's y plus 3 is equal to negative x minus 2. I want to move this positive 3 because I need this to be in the form y equals mx plus b. The y needs to be alone. So to get the y alone, I'm going to subtract 3 from the left and subtract 3 from the right, and I get y is equal to negative x minus 5. Let's keep going. Here I have y plus 10 is equal to negative 1/3 x plus 3. Don't let the negative 1/3 throw you off. We've been working with fractions. Don't let them intimidate you. Just take it one step at a time. So I'm going to distribute that negative 1/3. The left stays the same, so I have y plus 10 is equal to negative 1/3 times x is just that, negative 1/3 x. I have a negative times a positive, so I know I'm going to be minus 1/3 times 3. Remember, if I'm multiplying by a third, that's the same thing as dividing by 3. So I could think, oh, what's 3 divided by 3? 1. So it's going to be minus 1. Now get your y value alone. So I'm going to subtract 10. I get y is equal to negative 1/3 x minus 11. We have 2 more and then we are done. I want to distribute the negative 1/2. So I have y minus 4 is equal to negative 1/2 x. Notice all I did was take this and multiply it by x, which is exactly what I have written here. Then I have a negative times a negative, so I know that's going to give me a plus sign. And then I'm taking 1/2 of 4. 1/2 times 4, which is the same thing. So that's going to be 2. Get your y alone. I want to isolate the y because in my formula up here, the y is isolated on the left. So that's what I want to do down here. I need to get rid of the minus 4 by doing the opposite of subtraction, which is addition. So I'm going to add 4, y is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 6. We have one more example. Step 1 is to distribute and get rid of your parentheses. Y minus 19 is equal to 3/2 x minus, and if you need to come over to the side to do some scratch work, you can. You can say 3/2 times, remember every number is over 1, so times 6/1. You can do that. And then you can cross reduce if you want. So this is going to be 1, 3, so it's going to get us 9. So if you're not able to multiply these two things in your head, come over to the side and do your scratch work and do some cross reducing or multiplying straight across and then reducing. So you have options. Don't forget those skills that you know about fractions. Okay, so now I want to get the y the rest of the way alone, so I'm going to add 19. And that gets me y is equal to 3/2 x plus 10. And I'm done. All right. I hope that was making sense for you, and hopefully the 2 steps, you can see that pattern over and over. Distribute, then solve for y, distribute, then solve for y. If you have questions, be sure to bring them to me tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful night.